for this important announcement. I'm joined today by St. Catharines MP Chris Biddle, Niagara Centre MP Vance Badaway, Oakville MPP Stephen Crawford, who is Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Infrastructure, Niagara West MPP Sam Oosterhoff, who is Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Education, Mayor Jim Diodati of Niagara Falls, Mayor Walter Sendzik of St. Catharines, and I notice on the screen as well, I'm joined by Tony Baldinelli, who is the MP for Niagara Falls, and Wayne Gates, who is the MPP for Niagara Falls, the fellow with the largest mustache in all of Ontario. And I see Councillor Adam Moot as well from Welland. So I think that's all of the elected people. We have non-elected people as well. As we all know, investments in critical municipal infrastructure make a meaningful difference in the lives of our residents. The projects and funding announced today will directly benefit thousands of residents for years to come. As with all funding announcements under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Plan, it is always encouraging to see all three levels of government coming together to make a significant investment in the future. With that, I would like to introduce MP Chris Biddle, who will share a few words and have an introduction after that. Chris Biddle.
Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much for setting this up. We all know that you've taken pride in this virtual government, and your commitment to technology is always appreciated. And thank you for bringing us all together. I'd also like to say good morning to our viewers, my provincial colleagues, Stephen Crawford, Sam Oosterhoff, my federal colleague, Tony Baldinelli, Mayor Walter Sendzik, and Mayor Jim Diodati when he gets here. And thank you for everyone who's joining us. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional territory that we're on is that of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. I'm pleased to be here with you for today's announcement, which will make important improvements to our transit system, both in St. Catharines and the Niagara region as a whole. We're going through challenging times. Governments at all levels are working together to ensure that residents, businesses, and our communities make it through COVID-19. And when we do, we're built for future success. That's why today, alongside the province and Mayor Walter Sendzik, I'm pleased to announce that the Government of Canada will be contributing more than $16 million to public transit projects in St. Catharines. Several of those projects involved improvements to transit routes, new buses, renovations to bus shelters, as well as the renovation to the downtown terminal. This will make transit locations more accessible, with larger passenger waiting areas to accommodate a growing transit ridership that will include new radio and video surveillance system on the 89 vehicle bus fleet to ensure passenger safety. We know that part of Niagara's future growth in terms of economic development, increased population, and our growth in the green economy means higher usage of public transit, and today's announced projects work toward that future. 21 new buses, 5 new paratransit vehicles will add capacity to the existing fleet, encouraging more residents to choose public transit. This will provide a more frequent, accessible, and reliable bus service. These investments in transit in St. Catharines are only part of today's announcement. And to tell you more about how we are working with our partners to make strategic investments in an integrated transit system across the Niagara region, it is with great pleasure that I invite my colleague, Vance Badaway, who is the one person I didn't mention and may not have mentioned Wayne Gates, and want to ensure that I acknowledge him as well. But I will turn the floor over to my colleague, Vance Badaway, the Member of Parliament for Niagara Centre, to tell you more.
Well, thank you, Chris, and I appreciate the introduction. Good morning. Good morning to all our viewers. And as well, I do want to recognize the territories that we sit on, the Anishinaabe, as well as Haudenosaunee. Our heritage, our history as Canadians are due to a great deal of credit to these peoples throughout the entire nation. Folks, these are unprecedented times, and Canadians and people around the world have been impacted by COVID-19 and are reacting with a great deal of discipline and, of course, respect for each other. While the situation continues to evolve, all levels of government are taking decisive action now. That's why I'm pleased to make this announcement today with all my colleagues. Through joint federal, provincial, and municipal funding, we are announcing today support for 31 projects that will improve the public transit system for users throughout the Niagara region. The Government of Canada is investing over $31 million in all these projects throughout Niagara. Residents who use public transit will benefit from improvements to bus stops and shelters, as well as safer pedestrian crossings and in intersections. Several of the projects involve improvements to bus routes and new fare payment technology. This will make it easier for riders to access all of the transit systems across this wonderful region. Whether they are coming from Fort Erie, Port Colborne, St. Catharines, Welland, Niagara Falls, all throughout the region, these investments help people. In Niagara Falls, the Bridge Street Multimodal Hub will build new construction connections for transit users to local and regional transit, such as the GO network, and from Niagara Falls. This project will create a safe gateway into the city for pedestrians and supports the future GO transit terminal at the Niagara Falls station. A new transit operations facility in the city of Welland will help meet the needs of a growing public transit network. And the new Nickel Beach bike lane in Port Colborne will enhance the safety of cyclists and pedestrians and improve connections to all bus stops. Together, these investments will make it easier for cyclists and public transit users to get around their communities safely while protecting our environment. They will also create immediate and long-term jobs and promote economic growth at a time when our country needs it most. The Government of Canada is working closely with provinces, municipalities, other partners, and stakeholders to get projects built quickly, projects to make a positive difference in the lives of Canadians in these trying times. We're making investments to grow the economy and create jobs, improve people's quality of life, and protect the environment. Through our history, Investing in Canada plan, we are delivering our promise to build sustainable, resilient communities. Here in Ontario, we've invested over $7.5 billion through our infrastructure plan towards more than 2,400 projects across the region. Projects that are strengthening the communities where you live, raise your families, and where you work. Your health and safety remain our top priority, but we know strong investments in infrastructure will help create jobs and stabilize our economy. This is critical to our country's recovery as we move forward and build our future. In closing, together, we will improve the well-being of all Canadians. And with that said, this continues to be a Team Niagara effort. Therefore, may I express my sincere appreciation to my colleague MP Biddle, Baldinelli, Allison, MPPs Gates, Birch, Stevens, and Oosterhoff, Regional Chair Bradley and Regional Council, respective staff, and all the mayors and their respective councils and their respective teams for continuing to collaborate in the best interest of Niagara. Once again, it is a Team Niagara effort. And finally, I want to thank Minister of Infrastructure, Catherine McKenna, for continuing to be committed to this wonderful region. Once again, we are all in this together. May I now introduce Stephen Crawford, Member of Provincial Parliament for Oakville and Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Infrastructure for the Province of Ontario. Stephen?
Thank you very much, Vance. It's an honor to be here and to represent Laurie Scott. And I want to thank you very much for having me here. And I'm honored to bring greetings on behalf of the Honorable Laurie Scott, Minister of Infrastructure for the province. And I'm thrilled to be about today's announcement. I know it's a great day for public transit and for the residents of Niagara. And again, I want to start off by saying it's great to be here, even through these difficult times virtually. We're still able to make these announcements. And all levels of government have participated in a positive way, municipal, federal, and provincial. So I want to pay tribute to MP Vance Badaway, MP Chris Biddle, MP Tony Bendinelli, Mayor Jim Diotti from Niagara Falls, Walter Senzik, Jim Bradley, and it's good to see as well my colleagues from the provincial legislature, MPP Sam Oosterhoff, and I see MPP Wayne Gates on there as well. So great to see all of you here today. So last summer, we gathered together to nominate 31 public transit infrastructure projects through the public infrastructure stream via the ICIP program throughout the Niagara region. From upgrades in technology, which brings an improvement to the quality and safety in public transit system, construction of a new bus parking facility will ease the pressure on the existing transit hub facility, and this ripple effect will improve the overall quality of transit service. A new bike lane on the Nickel Beach in Port Colborne will enhance the safety of all of our cyclists and improve the connections to bus stops and get more families active. And I know I see so many more bicycles on the streets throughout Oakville. I'm having trouble personally. I've got twin daughters. I was able to get one bike, you can't get a bike anywhere. So the demand for bicycles is incredible. If there's any for sale in Niagara region, let me know. I'll come down there and pick it up because you can't get a bike anywhere here. Shows the demand for this, for bicycles and the need for these bicycle paths. Across our province, we are building and improving transit, roads and bridges, recreational facilities, cultural centers, and local water infrastructure to improve the lives of Ontarians. Here in Ontario, our shovels are ready to get infrastructure built for the people of Niagara and right across the province. All of our lives, obviously, have been greatly affected, dramatically, since the onset of COVID-19. Today's virtual announcement is a testament, and Ontario will continue to work closely with all levels of government to ensure Ontarians get the infrastructure we depend on and deserve. So again, I want to thank the chair of the Regional Municipality of Niagara, the Mayor of St. Catharines, the Mayor of Niagara, and the federal government for their significant investment in these projects. So again, congratulations and thank you very much.
I invite Sam Ustra, a member of Provincial Parliament for Niagara West and Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Education, to offer remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank my colleagues from across the region, both provincial and federal, for working together with our government and with our partners municipally and federally to ensure that these important projects are moving forward. I also want to thank Minister Laurie Scott and her team, as well, of course, MPP Stephen Crawford, for nominating these important projects to the federal government as we take another significant step forward to completion of these new projects. I do believe that they will be game changers for the Niagara region for a total of 31 public transit infrastructure projects. We know that this investment is all about improving capacity, reliability, and accessibility of local public transit infrastructure for the people of Niagara, including passengers who require specialized care. Ontario's portion of the investment today is more than Ontario's investment today of more than $26 million, together with contributions from our federal and municipal partners, means that residents and visitors will get to where they need to go more reliably. We know that these investments provide new and upgraded transit infrastructure, buses, paratransit and service vehicles, a refurbishment of existing buses, fare payment upgrades, and a bike lane for the cities of Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, Welland, Fort Erie, and Port Colborne, as well as the regional municipality of Niagara. And I also want to acknowledge MPP Gates and the work that he's done on these important files as well. This investment is all about improving the capacity, reliability, and accessibility of public transit. Across the province, we are investing more than $7.3 billion in transit infrastructure over 10 years through the ISIP program, the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. And so we're committed to connecting people to places and jobs where they work, whether that's a medical appointment, classes at school, and back home to their families, all on time. Overall, the ISIP program will unlock up to $30 billion in cost shared funding. And again, just can't thank our partners enough for coming alongside us in this endeavor. Across the province and across Niagara, we are building and improving transit, roads and bridges, recreational facilities, cultural centers, and local water infrastructure. And it's about having shovel-ready infrastructure that will support economic recovery and job creation. We know in the post-COVID era, that is very important. Today's an example of a great announcement is another example of the partnership between municipal, federal, and provincial governments. And I want to just let everyone know that we are committed to providing predictable, secure infrastructure funding to address local and provincial needs. And I will continue working tirelessly with my colleagues at the region, municipal, federal, and provincial levels to ensure that Niagara gets the resources that it needs and deserves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sam. I will now introduce the irrepressible and dynamic Mayor of Niagara Falls, Jim Diodati. You're on mute, Jim.
Why am I not muting?
You're on.
Am I on? All right, thank you. Chair, you left out the drum roll, but that's okay. We'll catch it next time. First of all, thank you to everyone for being here. I'm sorry, I was just sitting in my my City Hall hot tub, just thinking about what I was going to say. So I felt ready. So I thought I'd come over after meditating. But these projects, they're aligned with all the municipalities across Niagara region. Chair, they're going to advance technology and customer service. And that's what this is about, delivering better customer service to all the residents throughout Niagara. These measures are going to allow us to move forward with the complete integration of transit in Niagara. And that's really always been our goal. One Niagara, one transit, one Niagara transit. And I'd like to thank the provincial and federal governments. We recognize your hard work constantly and supporting us toward this goal, and recognizing these improvements are going to help us move forward with our transit goals. You know, transit's critical. It's for economic development. It's going to be part of the COVID recovery. And, you know, specifically to Niagara Falls, the Bridge Street Multimodal Hub, to understand what's going to happen, it's going to fully integrate transit inside and outside of the city. So we've got Niagara Falls Transit, we have the WeGo People Mover, we've got the regional transit and the GO all coming together. So when you put yourself in the shoes of a visitor, all they need to do is arrive. Once they get to the station, and it doesn't matter how they get there, whether it's on the go or whether they drive here, from here they can get anywhere they need to go. And this will be the entrance point to Niagara Falls for hundreds of thousands of people annually. The investments made at this location, they're going to allow for efficient and seamless travel. And that's what we want to the visitor. Seamless. They don't even realize they're going from one system to the other because it's all fully integrated. And today's announcement is going to do exactly that. It's going to make it better for everyone. So the enhancements here are going to include new bus platforms, parking, ground transportation, station enhancements, and of course, technology solutions. Technology has come a long way. So thank you to the government for your support of transit. These projects will boost the economy. They're going to benefit the people of Niagara Falls and the entire region and the millions of people who come here every year. I think it's a great step in the right direction of stitching all of Niagara together, all 12 municipalities into one, and it's all connected by our transit. So I'd like to say thank you. It's been a long time, and I think it's been well worth the wait.
Thank you very much, Mayor Diodati. I would now like to introduce the equally irrepressible and dynamic Mayor of St. Catharines, although I also see welcome to Wayne Redekop on the screen. But I would like to introduce the Mayor of the City of St. Catharines, Walter Sendzik.
Thanks to the chair. I don't know who did that. Thanks to the chair. I think Mayor Redekop thought this was regional council already. That's when he comes in late and I'm thinking, is he thinking this is regional council or is this a different meeting? Welcome, Mayor Redekop down in Fort Erie. I can't say it better than Mayor Diodati. I'm just really going to say thank you to everybody who is involved. I'm going to start with our St. Catharines MP, Chris Biddle, and Vance Badaway. Those two for the last 4.5, 5 years have been pushing real transit improvement here in Niagara, and Tony coming on board and seeing the impact that working together as Niagara, we can get a lot accomplished. It's great to see at the federal level that kind of push towards this transit system that we're seeing here in Niagara. And on a provincial level, Sam has been an advocate for this kind of investment that'll help so many people across the region. In addition to our St. Catharines MPP Jenny Stevens and Niagara Center Jeff Birch and Wayne Gates, there's no politics here when it comes to public transit. And MPP Crawford, it's great to see how you can listen to how we work together as a region. When it comes to investing in Niagara, if we do it right, it's about making sure that the people who need it the most are the ones that get it. And this is what public transit's about. And Mayor Diodati's right. We're probably 20 years behind where we should be on our transit system. We should, at this point in time, have an integrated regional transit system that touches all points of Niagara. We're almost there. We're very close to it. But the investments that we have made in Welland and Mayor Campion has been a big advocate. And I know Councillor Moot, sitting around council tables, has advocated for how do we make sure that the economy of our community, the social dynamics of our communities are built upon the connectedness of our transit system. Brock University, Niagara College, if we don't have that kind of public transit system, we can't plug into GO. And if we can't plug into GO, we can't plug into the GTA. So it's all connected. And these investments today will further strengthen our infrastructure so that when we say to the people of Niagara, do you want regional transit? We can point to very specifically how the infrastructure is already integrated to allow for that seamless transition to truly get together, as Mayor Diodati said, the economies of our communities. We can keep our identities as communities, but if we're not connected on our economic level through transit, we're not going to continue to grow like we should be. So this is a great announcement. I want to thank our Transit Commission. I know they worked very closely with Welland Transit and with Niagara Falls Transit and with the region's transit system to make sure that these kind of applications are also going to be able to connect into the 3 or 4 different systems that we have. So kudos to everyone. And I think this is a big day for transit in Niagara. And maybe we'll look back at this day as that catalytic moment that really drove home the need for regional transit in a way that will connect everybody together. So back over to the chair. I just want to say thank you to everyone involved.
Thank you very much, Mayor Sendzik. Mayor Redekop has joined us from Fort Erie. And I should say before I actually introduce him that Stephen Crawford, the MPP for Oakville and the parliamentary assistant to the Ontario Minister of Infrastructure, is looking for bicycles. And I happen to know that in Fort Erie, because I've been to a bicycle shop in Fort Erie, that there may be an availability. So I'll leave that to the mayor of Fort Erie. But the equally dynamic and irrepressible mayor of Fort Erie, Wayne Redekop.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I didn't know that many people understood that Fort Erie was the bicycle capital of the world. But anytime you need a bicycle, please come here. That's been the basis of our public transit system for quite some time. It's very difficult to follow Mayor Diodati and Mayor Sendzik. They've said pretty well everything that needs to be said. Certainly, we appreciate and thank the assistance from the federal government, the provincial government, and I know all of you, and I know that you work very hard to make sure that our communities work. And I can't think of any initiative over the past 20 years that will have a more significant impact on bringing the people of Niagara together than public transit. And a good public transit system will allow all residents in Niagara to participate in the growth and prosperity that we know will occur. And in fact, as Mayor Diodati was speaking, and I didn't intentionally come in late. I was having difficulty getting my credentials approved by whoever's running this meeting. So that speaks highly of your security system. It's your system. But, bringing the people into Niagara, whether they're tourists, whether they're potential residents, because in today's day and age with technology the way it is, people can live anywhere and work anywhere. And I would expect that there will be an exit from the GTA to some of the ring communities like Niagara. And this will provide people with an opportunity for easy access into and out of Niagara and then access around Niagara. So it is about meeting the needs of those who have an inability to provide themselves with their own transportation, but certainly an opportunity for people who may just want to save money or they're concerned about the environment. So this is great news. Fort Erie is working diligently with our partners, the large municipalities, and we clearly see the future with respect to public transit. And I'm absolutely delighted that we're on the right road. And again, thank the federal, provincial governments, the region, and all of my municipal colleagues. Of course, the MPPs who are always working hard, and the MPs working hard to make sure that the needs of the people here are met. So thank you on behalf of the town of Fort Erie.
Thank you, Mayor Redekop. If members of the media have any questions of anybody whose face appears on the screen, because there's several faces on the screen, please feel free to ask those questions at the present time. I see at least one media name on the screen. There may be others, but feel free at this time to identify yourself and ask a question of anybody whose face appears on the screen.
Chair Bradley, I think Alan Benner just joined, so if I can do my speech over again, that'd be great.
Do the Reader's Digest version.
Ellen, do you have any questions? Sounds as though we're that clear, but each one of the people who appears on the screen is available to answer any questions about this very important announcement. Any other media people other than Ellen Benner, whose name is on the screen?
He's unmuted, but I don't see him.
Okay. I know that all of you are available for questions at your office, or it can be reached at your office. Each and every one of you, I want to thank all of you who have joined today, and I want to thank the person who made up this script for me to read, and appreciate this as a very significant, if I can conclude by saying it's a very significant announcement, I must say, for each of the municipalities. All of us who are here today, who appear on the screen, have been strong advocates of public transit, and the investments made by the federal and provincial government along with municipal governments really makes a difference for residents of Niagara. So I want to thank each and every one of you, and I want to thank you for being with us today. And Ellen and any others who wish to ask questions, please feel free to contact our offices. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of the day. Great mustache.